Hello and welcome to the Build with Baer workshop. My name is Pat Baer and I'm here to build a model kit and to hang out with all of you. I'm throwing the Baer Cave the Lego the site, the tier 2 blue emote in the chat. If you are currently a subscriber, you can use those emotes. If you're not yet a subscriber, you can say hi, you can use other people's emotes, or you can be a lurker. Also, make sure you're throwing those emotes in there so that we can thank Harold for renewing their subscription for 65 months. Thank you very much, Harold. We're going to do an applause there. And then I'll say to everybody else once I say, Harold wrote, in 4 months, this will be nice. Yes, 4 months from now, it'll be a nice amount of months. But I want to say hello to John and Ghost Valve. Sorry. I started saying John and my mouth was like, I want to close. I don't know what happened. John and Ghost Valve and Mr. Bob and Lashbrook and Aristocrat. It's lovely to have all of you here on a Monday evening. We've got a fun kit that we've been working on here, the Daddies. We're probably going to finish that tonight. Hey, Lord Crashes in, welcome. Because we've got most of this done, and then I have some stuff that we'll start. I know what I'm going to build next. Lord Crashes in wants me to hit the dance button. It's a new month, and then Harold wants me to ring the bell. I'm going to go backwards here. Here's the bell. The bell has been rung, and now here's the new dance song. I have never picked a dance song that sounds more like it was made hoping to be a TikTok dance song. Like, it's not. There's no TikTok dances to that song, but they really want it to catch on, and they'll be like people doing like the bunny, like cat ears and like weird motions or whatever, and then like shaking their hips, and then people will do the inappropriate version of that. That will get them kicked off TikTok. Aristocrat says, yeah. I mean, look, there exists the possibility that might become the greatest TikTok dance song of all time. But it's got that vibe. You know what I mean? As soon as I heard it, I went, well, that's good for dance music for this. But also, wow. So yeah. So we're gonna finish up. We'll body complete. We'll build a weapon. So that'll be most of the stream is finishing up the Daddies. I do want to say, I put up a poll for my $10 patrons about what I should build next, right? And I had a couple of model kits, some high grades, but I wanted to mix things up a little bit. So I put together a combo pack because they're both very short. So I was like, well, I'll build them back to back because they won't take much time on either. And so I have a Lego set, a Ninjago set. This is Kai's Ninja Race Car Evo. It's a 94-piece kit, so that's going to be a quick build. That's maybe less than a one stream, but definitely a one stream. Just Another Spicy says, hi, Pat. Hello to you, Just Another Spicy. Thanks for coming in. And then also, the box. I opened the box here, so I got. Yeah, I could just do this. Can I just do this? Yeah. What if I just do this? It's Gyarados. I got a Gyarados kit. I bought a Gyarados kit. This should be a quick build. It's not that many pieces. This is one of them, like, it's like an entry grade kit. Doesn't require any tools, though it has stickers, so I will use tools to make those stickers appear. But pretty straightforward. So I packaged those together. So when we finish Daddies, we will either start a Lego set or we will jump in and start putting together a Gyarados. And I look forward to either of those. But those are small things, so I packaged them together. We also might not get to those at all. We might just finish this and not have time to start anything new. I don't know. But I do know is that we need to get, I need to retweet my tweet. And then we'll get into the overhead. And then we'll start once again with, unfortunately, an ongoing series. I would love it if this ongoing segment of the show could end, but there's always going to be new stuff. The ongoing saga of Twitter, it won't stop. There's always something. And like I said, I wish that I could just be like, and then it was over. And then it got sold, and we didn't have to worry about it anymore. But we do, because more nonsense comes out. So there's two parts of this, right? I will tell you both parts. you don't have to worry. One is April 1st was supposed to be the day that verifieds went away. Legacy verified, non-Twitter blue, non-payers, that was going to go away. And then we heard, well, maybe like some organizations won't lose it, and like some like top people won't lose it. Maybe they're going to try to keep some people around, because like famous people were just like, hey, I'm losing my check mark soon. Remember that this is my real account, because I'm not paying. So it was just like, oh, okay. Yeah. It turns out LeBron James isn't going to pay for Twitter Blue. Okay. So it was like, oh, all right. And then it didn't happen. I didn't lose my check mark. I'm a legacy. And in fact, what did happen was that definition changed. I went from this could be we might not know that this is notable. It may be a legacy account, to this is a notable person. It changed. And then it changed to something far worse. It got worse, everybody. I'm actually going to look back here. I'm going to try to find my... Oh, Harold, thank you for the retweet. Appreciate that. I'm going to go look and tell you the saga here, because that's all yesterday, I believe. Let's see. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. I'm going to have so many wrestling tweets that I'm never going to find this thing, am I? No, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So I went from this verified because it's notable government news, entertainment, or other designated category. I was entertainment. Then legacy notable, so I went back to that, or may or may not be notable, legacy verified. And then it went to the new thing that we have, which is this account is verified because it's subscribed to Twitter Blue or is a legacy verified account. So there's an or now. This is a sick mobile suit. You're totally right. The Rick Diaz, this is the Quattro's version, so it's the red. It's our red friend instead of our blue friend. But you're right. This is a very cool kit. So that basically, that's the saga. Now, people might think that my account is paid for, and that's a shame. That's a shame that people would maybe think that that I didn't get verified several years ago, and instead I paid for the service, which I did not. I would suggest that folks, we'll get to part 2 in a second. I would suggest that folks that are interested in knowing, and if you use Firefox, I don't know if it's on Chrome, but I do know that this extension is on Firefox, and it's safe, and you can get it. It is called Twitter Real Verified. It is a plugin extension for Firefox, and it will change the check mark, the blue check mark. If it is a Twitter Blue account, it will change it to a blue $sign instead of the check mark, and the legacy, like myself, will just remain there. So you can see right away, oh, this person paid Elon Musk. Like, there's somebody I follow who is in the entertainment industry of an adult nature that I know in my personal life, and they got it. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? Sure. You need more and more people to like check out your free OnlyFans to then hopefully pay you for your paid OnlyFans. Like, yes, you should have Twitter Blue. You should extend your reach. Totally understandable. But when people were like, I read the code of Twitter and here are my findings, and you're like, you pay Elon Musk money, I do not believe you. It's good to know that stuff. When people are talking from an authoritative tone or a place of authority, and you're like, yeah, but you pay money, so. But now there's the other part of that, right? There's the one hand. On the one hand, you got that going. On the other hand, hey, we should talk about the dumbness of today, because there were 2 changes that were made to. Some people were saying they didn't see it on mobile. Some people said they did see it. Other people were just seeing it on a browser. If you may have noticed, not even in your like who to follow in your For You, in your following, the people that you follow. You may have said, hey, there are tweets from people that I don't follow. And it's just like, there's just tweets. And it's just like, what's happening here? What's going on? What is this? I don't follow these people. Why am I seeing them? And that's because you were seeing retweets. But the retweets were not set up in a way that you would know they're retweets. They just look like tweets. Is that by design or is that a fuck up? I don't know. I do know that above the home button for many people, they also saw a Dogecoin, the cartoon Dogecoin. And you may be saying, Pat, why is this old meme suddenly on Twitter? Well, that's because I saw that, but then it didn't happen to me. It sucks. Yeah. It didn't. Well, I'll get into that for a second. So that was annoying for some people where they were like, I don't know who these people are that are in my feed, and it's just like, that's a shame. The Dogecoin thing. So, Elon Musk is currently being sued in a racketeering lawsuit for 258. He's involved in a $258 billion racketeering lawsuit because he talked up a lot about Dogecoin to inflate the price. It's very clear. And so people are like, "Oh, he put the Dogecoin in there as like a joke or like a show of like, hey, I don't care about this lawsuit. It's clearly bullshit. We're asking for dismissal. We want to toss this, so we'll do like, hey, check out this Dogecoin thing that we've got going on here." Other people were like, oh, maybe he did this so that if you searched on Twitter for Dogecoin, you wouldn't get links to this, like to people talking about the lawsuit. You would get links to, or you would just see people talking about, hey, why am I seeing Dogecoin on here? And I don't know if Elon Musk is smart enough to do that. I half expect he was just like, we're talking about Doge, huh? Well, just so you know, I can put the Dogecoin right on Twitter and no one can stop me. I'm the owner of a failing business. Look at me go. So either way, it's silly. Now, I did not see the Doge. I only saw people photographing the Doge showing up on their timeline and being unhappy about it. But I did not see that dog. Because, and I can't recommend this enough, I am using a plugin for Firefox called Minimal Twitter. And Minimal Twitter is great. You can do a lot with Minimal Twitter. Ad blocking the icon removes all icons from Twitter, which isn't a huge deal for me. Lord Crashid, that's a simple solution, right? That is very simple. The only time I saw it was when I clicked the link and went to Twitter and browser. There you go. See, I use browser by default on my computer because I have browser. Right now I have two Firefox windows open and I have a Chrome window minimized that I will be using later. I always have browsers just open, and so I just do Twitter on that. I do use my phone, but not that often. I mostly use it because I'm home all the time. I used to use Twitter on mobile quite a bit. I don't do that anymore. So Minimal Twitter allows you to customize the Twitter website, and I recommend it very much. I'm going to click on mine right now to show for myself, just so I can see over there. I have. I don't see trends. I don't see view counts from tweets. I don't see the view count numbers anymore. I don't see promoted posts. I don't see who to follow. I don't see topics to follow. I don't see the For You following tab. I just have the following. And I always use the following tab. So I don't even see the For You, and it can't go to that. I always see latest tweets. I have a search bar, but you don't have to have that. I have a Twitter button. I have notifications. And I have the. It is so simple and so easy to use. Minimal Twitter is what I recommend. Um, I should also say that it doesn't do the verified thing, so I have two. So is it weird that I have two plugins for Twitter? Kind of, but I use Twitter quite a bit for personal and professional usage. I wish I didn't. I'll admit, I do not believe that I am at a place right now where I can solely promote my work on co-host or Mastodon or just in my Discord. I'm not in the place right now where I feel comfortable doing that or relying on people searching the makers and crafting tab and coming in here because they want to see some Gunpla being built or Plamo or Lego or whatever. So I can't, right now, I don't feel comfortable enough to take that risk. So I still promote myself on Twitter. It gets a little easier every day to let go. I'm also removing actual links from my tweets because that does appear to be correct that off-site links do seem to not get spread as easily as other tweets. Photos and videos apparently are weighed the same, so I don't have to start incorporating video. Because I do know some folks that make little, like, 10-second videos to promote themselves, which is just an image, like, recorded as a animated GIF they upload as a video because someone told them that video gets shared better than images, but apparently that is not the case. So I don't know. But yeah, Twitter continues to be very silly in increasingly goofy ways, and it is sometimes fun to point and laugh at it. Let's see, what we got anything else for this lawsuit thing? This Gizmodo's article about the lawsuit refers to him as Elon the Doge Father Musk. Also, Dogecoin claims to take credit for the term Doge, where clearly it was first used on the internet, recorded on the internet, and is used since 2004 in a Homestar Runner a puppet video. It's not even a cartoon, a puppet video. Because Homestar spells dog, D-O-G-E, to which Strongbad replies, "I'm your Doge?" in a Strongbad voice, which I will not try to copy. So it's very clear where we first heard the term Doge was Strongbad saying it on Homestar Runner. I'm sure it was probably used before that, but that is a clear example that they did not fucking invent the term Doge. Just another Spice says, "Hey Pat, probably off topic, but did you watch WrestleMania?" I did not. I did watch WrestleMania. I missed a couple hours. Did miss that on Saturday because I chose to stream. So I started watching WrestleMania and then stopped watching WrestleMania and then continued to watch WrestleMania and then got caught up. And then last night I just watched WrestleMania. I watched a lot of fucking wrestling over the weekend and the week, I should say. If you want to check it out, the Indie Wrestling Hall of Fame for 2023 is available on Fight with just a regular account. You don't even need Fight Plus, just a regular account on Fight. You can watch the Hall of Fame, so it is free. It is a Hall of Fame induction, so it is in a like ballroom, and it is interesting in many ways, boring in a couple. I would recommend that you should skip through Paul London's speech because it is incredibly long, and Paul London was a great wrestler and is a weirdo who is not good at public speaking because he did not write a speech. It is very clear he is just kind of doing loose stand-up, and it's very bad. But some of it was very heartfelt and really cool. It was a good time. Excalibur went in and just like, I don't think I deserved this, but did speak and big up PWG, which was really nice. And it's just like, I don't know. It was a good time. So I would recommend that if you want to see. There's some indie wrestlers maybe you never heard of going into the Hall of Fame in a room that had a big floral arrangement that made it look like it was a funeral service. They clearly they wanted a big they just wanted something to look nice, but you know, carny sensibilities. But I did watch WrestleMania. Okay, so just another spicy. Fight, FITE, is a website where you can stream stuff. I should clarify this for just you and everybody else. It is on the website Fight, FITE, the streaming service. They put up the Indie Wrestling Hall of Fame, which is a joint, yes, it is a joint venture between many independent wrestling groups. It is part of WrestleCon, so it is intrinsically linked to GCW, but it is a separate entity of wrestling promoters and wrestlers on the independent scene. And it's their Hall of Fame. And it's cool. Yeah, that is a cool bit of business. So I would say that is worth checking out. Yes. I watched a bunch of wrestling. So, WWE. We got to kind of talk about it. Right? The WWE has been sold. The company, World Wrestling Entertainment, or WWE, doesn't stand for anything, depending on who you talk to, Titan Sports, have been purchased by Endeavor. Now, you may know Endeavor for a number of things. You may know them as, isn't that like a talent agency? Yes. You might know them as, didn't they 2 years ago buy UFC? Yes. Aren't they the talent agency that Nick Khan came out of? Now the head of one of the VPs of WWE. Yes. Hey, don't they own the Professional Bull Riders Association? Yes. They own a bunch of weird stuff. They've got an esports league. They've got a division in China that was invested from Tencent. They are not owned by China. They own some South Korean stuff in entertainment. They're trying to dip their toes in that direction. They're a conglomerate that started buying up stuff that they could then also represent in a move that doesn't seem cool, but sure. And they purchased the WWE with the intent to merge UFC and the WWE under one umbrella, but not merge the two companies together. Which doesn't make sense, because then you could just say you bought it. But basically, they're going to create a new publicly traded company that will have two divisions. It will have a wrestling division and an MMA division. But it'll be one company. And then the president of Endeavor will also be the president of that and the owner of that. And then there's like a guy in charge of that. And then Dana White runs UFC. And Vince McMahon is still the owner of WWE. Not the owner of WWE, but like the president of WWE. And then, quote unquote, nothing else will change. So that's happening. We got word that was probably coming last night. Word was getting out there that they were getting sold. It's not the Saudi government. Yes, Vince McMahon also has a mustache. Vince McMahon dyes his hair black and has a thin mustache now. And he looks like Mr. House from Fallout New Vegas. He just looks like Mr. House from Fallout New Vegas with the hair. The mustache, there are other people he looks like, but when you combine the hair with the mustache and the suit, it's Mr. House. And that's weird. Good night, Harold. Thanks for coming in. J. Jonas Jameson. Yeah, a little bit of that. Yeah, sure. Sure. It's a whole fucking thing. It's not the Saudi government, right? So that's good. It is a company that also owns and operates UFC, pays their workers like garbage, uh, or their fighters. Did a lot of layoffs. Um, Dude looks like himself from an alternate evil universe, but he's still an evil man. Yes, Vince McMahon just found a different. It's just a different Vince McMahon was brought it over somehow. It's an alternative reality Vince McMahon, but it's not like the good Vince or the evil Vince. It's just another Vince. You know what it is? It's that Vince McMahon. It's Vince McMahon going through his rebellious phase in like the 50s. That's what it is. He's like not in his 50s, in the 1950s, but going through a rebellious phase. That's the vibe I get from this. Okay, so what do here? Anyway, what does this mean for professional wrestlers? We don't really fucking know. I mean, like, you can make assumptions that people will get laid off. I think that's fair to assume that employees will be laid off, in various fields and divisions. Will it be wrestlers? Will they clean house? Maybe. I mean, people who are going to be looking at these books and trying to make sense of this incredibly expensive live operation that does, like, let's be fair, does make a lot of money. The partnership deals with like TurboTax and Cinnamon Toast Crunch and all kinds of other dumb stuff that came through in the past 2 days, all of that they made a ton of money. So it is a company that does make bank, and I am not saying it doesn't make bank, but it also has a lot of overhead, and the assumption of people who are in power who did not something like $21 million, right? So that's even before all of the money they made for their supposed gate, which who knows how accurate that is. And then, of course, costs and pay, all that other stuff in there. And then, pay-per-views in parts of the world that don't have the network and their Peacock deal and all that stuff. Yes. So they made a lot of money, right? But somebody who is number crunching, that doesn't know the ins and outs, right, might look at that and go, well, they make a lot of money, but also, what if we made all this money and we didn't spend all that money? Like, look at how much money we're spending on. Do we really need that many camera people? Do we really need this digital division? I mean, do we really need, like, how many of these wrestlers actually wrestle? How many people are there? How many people hang out in catering just waiting for an opportunity? We have 2 shows. Why do we have 2 different rosters? Wait, we have 3 rosters. What's NXT? Performance Center, but we already have wrestlers. Why do we need new wrestlers? Like, who are you you're negotiating someone who's famous in Japan? What does that matter? Now, some of these things could also be said by already employees of the WWE, but I'm just kind of making some assumptions that someone who would come in, because hey, I'm not here to tell you that different eyes can't see things, right? And they might be like, wait, why do you have writers? They're wrestling. What? Why do we have all these people? Who's on? Wait, why do writers have to travel? Can't they just write from home? To be fair, one of the reasons why I never really pursued it much beyond the one job I tried to get at NXT, because I did at one time try to get an NXT writing gig, because it was character work and improv with wrestlers in the Performance Center. So it was under the NXT umbrella. I did apply for that job. I would have been very good for that job. That job did not require me to go on the Coconut Loop, which is a small tour NXT does in Florida. I was never going to have to travel for that gig. And I would just live in Orlando. And I was like, you know what? That sounds great. I did not get that job, obviously. Fairly obviously, I did not get that gig. But anyway, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Immediately, nothing, right? The immediate thing is like the thing that people were like, oh, this is how it starts is, yes, Lord Crashing, they call it the coconut loop. It is a Florida circuit of live shows, non-taped house shows that NXT does to put people. So the first time that some of their new people are wrestling isn't in front on television or on the network. It is in front of a small group of people. Try stuff out. It's how some people get some experience as a wrestler. Some of their first live experiences. And they call it the Coconut Loop, which is a fun name. Let's see. Is there anything else I want to say about that? So yeah, we don't know what's going to happen. Certainly, probably unrelated, but some people were like, "Oh, it's already starting." 2 people asked for their release. The guys formerly known as the tag team Grizzled Young Veterans, who were part of a group called Schism. They became the Dyad, which was just they were druids. It's a whole fucking thing. They were like druids in a cult. It's a whole thing. But they apparently asked and were granted their release. So I don't think that's related. I think that's just timing. They certainly probably didn't say, oh no, they're going to be bought by Endeavor. We're getting out of here. It's mostly like, oh, we're fucking sick of losing all the time and our contracts are coming up. So we're just going to ask for our release because we're not going to the main roster and we're in a terrible gimmick and they won't take us out of this terrible gimmick. So, and also possibly Joe Gacy is moving up to the main roster. So they're probably going to destroy that thing anyway, is my guess. Vince looks like Atlas from BioShock. Yes, that is another fair statement that to say some BioShock vibes to Vince McMahon. And because Atlas from BioShock and Mr. House are both kind of pulling from the same inspiration, I guess you would say. They're both playing up the same kind of libertarian, like Vincent Price / John Waters, if they were garbage, they had garbage politics and were monsters. Yeah. Fair to say. Did I put this foot on? No, I put this foot on backwards. I put one of these legs on wrong because I put the foot on wrong. That's what I was supposed to do. Hooray, I figured it out. Vincent Price with no soul. Sure. Now, about WrestleMania. There were some good and some bad. I certainly will not laugh at Shane McMahon, who pulled a quad in his big return in a silly match against The Miz that was thrown together because Miz is the host of WrestleMania, but the real host of WrestleMania is clearly Snoop Dogg. And for some reason, when WWE is in LA, Snoop Dogg has the authority to make matches. I don't know why, but I love that because that's stupid. And I'm always on board for silly goofs in wrestling. So, night 1, Snoop was like, you're going to be in a match, and I got your opponent. It's not going to be me. I don't do that. That's on you. Because everyone remembers Snoop's very terrible frog splash that he did once in AEW. So he was like, I'm not going to wrestle, which is like, yeah, good on you. But what he did do was he brought in Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee, sometimes wrestling announcer for the WWE, who showed up, did not do announcing, just had a match, a very quick match with The Miz. Miz lost. Night 2 of WrestleMania, Miz is like, hey, I didn't like what happened there at one point. And then Snoop was like, yeah, we're going to fight. No, I'm not going to fight you. I got somebody else. I'm paraphrasing, of course. And that was Shane McMahon, who came down to the ring. Shane McMahon, the legit son of Vince McMahon. He came down to the ring, and he started a match. He did a frog leap. A leapfrog, I should say. I said frog leap. A leapfrog. And then he came down and blew his quad. Just injured himself and crumbled. And he was supposed. So what we think was supposed to happen is he was supposed to have a short match with the Miz, and the Miz won, and then Snoop would come in, sucker punch the Miz because he was mad about that cheap win, and then do the People's Elbow. So Lashbrook, Shane used to be. There was a time where Shane was gone for years and years and years, and we would never see him again. And then Shane came back, and he was too much. He won the greatest Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia. He was just around all the time. And then he was producing stuff. And then he produced the Royal Rumble that everyone hated. There's a Royal Rumble pretty recently that everyone hated. And he was blamed for that. And then it was just we would never see him again. And then he came back for WrestleMania. Yeah. And so he hurt himself. Now, we think that the idea was that was going to happen, right? It was going to be a match, and then Snoop would drop the elbow after the match, and everyone would cheer. That didn't happen because it was very clear that Shane injured himself and wouldn't be able to continue. And the host of WrestleMania was his opponent. So Miz doesn't quite know what to do. He's just like, you can see, he's just like, what are we going to do? Is someone going to make the call? He's waiting to hear the referee earpiece. Someone must have told Snoop Dogg or somebody near Snoop Dogg who was waiting outside the ring, just jump to the finish. Because Snoop Dogg comes in and just sucker punches the Miz, who has to then go down. And then the Miz gets back up because the Miz doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't know because while that's happening, they're rolling Shane out of the ring. But the Miz doesn't know what the fucking deal is. The Miz just knows that he was wrestling Shane. Shane is hurt. Why? And I just got hit by Snoop Dogg. So then Snoop Dogg goes, you think I'm going to let that happen? Or something like that. He just improvises a line. And then punches the Miz again. And then does the People's Elbow and pins the Miz 1, 2, 3 because the ref comes back in the ring. The Miz had basically, they're like, the way you can justify it is Shane got hurt and the Miz decided, or not the Miz, Snoop Dogg decided to replace Shane with himself. So technically, Snoop Dogg has a win at WrestleMania because the referee did count 1, 2, 3. An audible was called, and it was very funny and weird. And that is one of the best and only good things that happened on night 2 of WrestleMania. WrestleMania night 2, kind of a fucking disappointment. Some winners that I didn't like. Obviously, match of the night, match of the weekend. Technically, or possibly, I shouldn't say technically, possibly, match of the week. The entire WrestleMania week, and all the various other events that happened for WrestleCon and such, could certainly be argued was the three-way fight for the Intercontinental title with Gunther defending against Drew McIntyre and Sheamus, because that match fucking ruled. That match was brutal and hard-hitting and probably my match of the week. Possibly Fred Rosser versus Karam from Big Gay Brunch 6, which was fantastic. That match was just great. Maybe Commander versus Bandito could be up there. I think I've seen better from the two of them, so maybe not that match, but like that match ruled. But anyway, that was the best match. And then we had the Shane of it all. I do not believe, in my heart of hearts, I cannot tell you that I do not think that Asuka versus Bianca was the wrong call. A lot of people were mad because Asuka rules, obviously. And she has never won at WrestleMania. And that feels wrong. It fucking does feel wrong that Asuka has never won at WrestleMania. But some people would like to believe that it's a conspiracy that she's never won at WrestleMania and that she and that WWE hates Asuka and they mistreat her and she's undervalued at the company and all these other things that people think about that. I don't think I agree with that because Asuka has won Money in the Bank. She has won the Women's Elimination Chamber. She has won every single title available to her, with the exception of the NXT Women's Tag Championships. But she has never but she has won the NXT title, every title on Raw and SmackDown possible, and yeah, like I said, she's won Money in the Bank. She's won Elimination Chamber. There is nothing that Asuka has not won. She is the Grand Slam champion. She's done it all. So to say that, like, she's being fucked over by WWE, in my opinion, is somewhat revisionist history from people that like Asuka. And I get that. I love Asuka. I think Asuka rules. Now, I wasn't mad because I'm like, oh, Asuka doesn't win at WrestleMania. This is clear that they hate her. Like, that's not the reason why I was mad about this. I was mad about this because, in my opinion, Bianca has had the belt for a year, and I would like Bianca to have a character change. And losing the belt and getting pissed off because she lost the belt is an easy way to do that. Because NXT heel Bianca is a vision. It is amazing. I love heel Bianca, and I wish we had gotten heel Bianca. I'm going to put this... I think I'm going to put this gun on the back here instead of on the front because I just don't... It doesn't hold it well. I don't like how it holds the gun, so we're going to instead put it on the backpack here. It just hangs out. Why doesn't it want to do that? Oh. It does that. Oh, it goes there. Okay. All right, so we're gonna put this on the back here. Asuka kind of needs this win because they are really pushing the new Asuka, and now it kind of went far. So I don't think she needs that to push that character. I don't think that Clown Asuka. I don't think Clown Asuka needs, because it's not a new character. It's just new face paint. Like, Asuka isn't different than she was in NXT. She's not like, she's heel Asuka and face Asuka, and every Asuka is the same. It's just Asuka. Like, Asuka turned babyface because she was one. This is a thing that happened, and I love this. Heel Asuka won Money in the Bank, right? And then they took the briefcase from her. And then Becky Lynch called her to the ring and was like, hey, you're not the number one contender. Open the briefcase. It's my belt. Asuka went from a heel to a babyface because Becky was like, I can't be champion anymore because I'm pregnant. And Asuka just like was happy that Becky was going to be a mom. And no character change. No, she was a heel that was like a loose cannon. She just became a loose cannon babyface because the justification was, well, Asuka is happy for Becky. And that's it. That's the only justification you needed. Because you're just like, yeah, all right. I like Asuka anyway. So, sure. Asuka is just Asuka. So she doesn't really need... Like I said, I want good things for Asuka because Asuka is a great fucking wrestler and a fantastic person to have in this company, and just works so goddamn hard and is so good at wrestling. So I do, of course, want good things for Asuka. I always want good things for Asuka. But at the same time, I am okay with Bianca winning. Because Bianca, like, look, here's the thing. There were 3 matches on the card where young children were invested in the winner. And not the audience. I'm talking about invited guests. There were a bunch of kids that were on stage for John Cena's entrance. They were Make-A-Wish kids. John Cena lost that match. -1. The son of Brody Lee was there and, like, mentioned to see Cody Rhodes lose to Roman Reigns. So I don't think that it's a bad idea that they had a bunch of young ladies who are dancers who all had like headbands and they had the long tail, the long ponytail, the braid, and danced around. Some of whom were like, those are good dancers. And a couple you were like, hey, what the fuck? Why are these girls so good at dancing at such a young age? That's impressive. That's incredible. Those young ladies, I'm glad they got a win. You know what I mean? They got their win. They got to watch Bianca retain her title. And I was like, good. At least some kids ended up happy. Now, obviously, there's the kids in the crowd. They're going to like who they like. Rey Mysterio won. And so, you know, people were happy about that. Of course, there was some feel-good there. Night one was a lot of feel-good. Obviously. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens won. They had the gorilla from PWG. They didn't have, you know, they had like a version of the logo on their gear. They came out together. They beat the Usos and won. And it's beautiful and cool as hell. And I'm so thrilled. I have talked about this before, that my time on the East Coast Indies, watching the East Coast Indies, means that I saw a lot of Chikara stuff because I was in New York and Connecticut. I grew up in Connecticut, moved to New York, saw most of my indie wrestling was watched while I was in New York. But I traveled and saw a bunch of stuff. I saw a bunch of things in many places. I saw a lot of Chikara in that time, so I saw a lot of El Generico. Saw some Kevin Steen. There was a show in Rhode Island that a friend of mine and I drove out to. He had a car. He wanted to go. I was happy to go. He was like, this show's going to be great. It's a small local promotion. There's not many, you know, like we heard that El Generico is going to be there. Sounds rad. This sounds fucking like it's going to be such a good show. I only know a couple people that are doing it. And we get there, and apparently this was a word-of-mouth show because the promoter hadn't promoted. This spot in Rhode Island, people liked wrestling. It was easy to get to Massachusetts from there, easy to get to Connecticut, easy to get to New York. This is a town that would come out to see a wrestling show, but they didn't know there was going to be a wrestling show. Nobody had told them there was going to be a wrestling show. So apparently there were 26 people in attendance. And myself and my friend were 2 of that 26. And it was a fucking great show. El Generico got on the mic and thanked us all and said, hey, this is what's happening. So we're sorry, there's not a lot of us here because some people had to go, they're going to another show, or there was somebody who basically said like, hey, I can get us booked on another gig. Like if people want to come and do that. And some wrestlers left to go do a show that worked. And he was just like, hey, whatever. There was a whale there. One of the 26 was somebody that like bought ring gear. One of those people, and they bought a ton of merch. Basically, they just bought 3 or 4 of everyone's gear, or merch, I should say, and sold it, and then also bought an El Generico mask that he wore at some Chikara show, and a bunch of other stuff. There were people there that made sure that we had a really good time, and Sammy got busted open and was bleeding through the face of the mask. And I was like, oh, you shouldn't get hurt. I was thinking to myself, please don't get hurt at this show. No one will remember this show. Please don't get hurt here. But he still wanted to make sure we had a good show. And it was a lovely time. I love Sami Zayn. I love that he for 1 year for for San Diego Comic-Con, was a guest on a Fuse TV show called The Chris Gethard Show that would later have another home on True TV, but at the time was on Fuse. He was a guest, and the reason that he agreed to be on it was he knew Chris from a few other people, right? He was aware of Chris, but they pitched and they said, "Hey, we can talk about wrestling, but also if you want to come on and be our guest for 8 minutes and just talk about ska, we can also do that because like members of our band were in the are and were in the Kung Fu Monkeys and like know everybody in that scene." And he's just like, and like Mikey Ergs is in the band. He's like, "I want to meet the Ergs." Like basically because of the house band for the show, he was like, "Yeah, I'll do it." And he's like, "I guess you can ask me wrestling questions if you want." So there were some wrestling questions that got asked, but mostly he was there as a ska aficionado. And I just always thought that was so fun. That was such a lovely thing. Sami Zayn rules. I saw Kevin Steen's last indie match. His last Ring of Honor match was in New York, and I just so happened to be at that show. So I saw his last thing. He's like, "Thank you, Kevin," where he was a heel in the match and then gave a speech. He gave like a brief speech being like, "Yeah, I guess I like it here. So I don't know. I guess I had a good time and thanks everybody," or whatever. But he was like clearly feeling some feelings, but also needed to keep. These just don't want to sit in here. These weapons are supposed to clip in, but they just don't want to. I'm like looking at this and seeing how it's supposed to go. They're supposed to clip in like this. Anyway, these guns don't want to hold. This is that kit. I'm just going to lay them all next to it. This kit is cool. I liked this kit. I enjoyed it. This is Quattro's Rick Diaz. I can't believe this is the first time I ever built a Rick Diaz on stream. I can't believe I haven't had the joy of being able to say Rick Diaz like 100 fucking times. So, good kit. Again, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, probably the best feel-good moment of the match. Would I rather this have been Sami Zayn main eventing WrestleMania to take on Kevin Owens, take on Roman Reigns in night 2? Yeah, but also, if they're not going to put the belt on Cody, they definitely weren't going to put the belt on Sami. So I'd rather Sami win the tag belts with his best friend in professional wrestling, because that's at least a cool story. Sami got his main event at Elimination Chamber, didn't win there, didn't win, didn't get to go to WrestleMania. But like, I don't fucking know. It was still cool as hell. It still rules. And then, yeah, Cody lost. And that's weird. Because I don't fucking know. Now everyone's like, well, they want him to, win for 1,000 days. They want him a 1,000-day title reign. And I'm like, that sounds bad. I would like Roman Reigns to no longer be the champion. But that does not seem to be an option, unfortunately. Yeah. All right, so friends, we now have to decide. I would like to hear from you in chat. Actually, you know what? Can I make a poll? I'm going to make a poll. I'm going to make a poll here. I'm going to add that. Okay, so I'm going to make a poll about what we should work on next. Gyarados. We got the Gyarados right here. Gyarados right there. Got a Gyarados kit. Or Kai's Ninja Race Car. So I'm going to make a poll. Create new poll. Okay, and we're going to have 2 responses here. We're going to do car, and we're going to do Pokemon. All right. Obviously, whichever loses will we'll do a 2-minute poll. Whatever loses, and you can vote now. Okay. Whichever loses will be after that. But I'm just going to start it there. So you should be able to vote. If you click the down button there, yes. So please vote if you would like to see me first work on Gyarados, the Pokemon, or the car. And of course, whatever loses will be the thing I build after that. But I'm letting you make the call. You make the call. Right now, we got 50-50 here on car and Pokemon. We got, yeah. So we'll see here. Oh, car has moved into the lead. We now have 2-1. Car, 2 Pokemon. So, oh, okay. So yeah, we have some time left here on the poll. Oh, we're now tied, 50-50. Maybe the next vote will decide it. We don't know. Should I start working on a Lego car? Kai's Ninja Race Car from Evo from Ninjago, or Gyarados, a no tools required Pokemon build, where I will still use a tool to put on the stickers, because that is easier. We are still 50-50. There is not much time left. Gotta do a car Pokemon next. Lord Crashington. That would be great. I would like to build a Lego car Pokemon, or a Pokemon model kit of that is a car shape. Sure. There are motorcycle dogs, so, you know. Hey, somebody else vote. There's not much time left. Literally one more person vote and decide. I can't, come on. Isn't that just a Digimon? I mean, that's true. Literally just one more person vote. If you're on mobile, you probably can't vote. Sometimes that doesn't work. My apologies. I will just make the call myself, because I will be the deciding vote. I don't want to be the deciding vote, but I will, about if I want to do some Lego or if I want to do Gyarados. All right, yeah, it was a fucking tie. That was a tie. So, 2 votes for car, 2 votes for Pokemon. I'm the deciding vote. We're going to work on Gyarados, and then we will work on the car later, because I haven't even opened that box, and that's fine. But we opened Gyarados, so let's see. Let's put up here. I need Gyarados, and then Rick can go away. Great. So this is the Gyarados kit. This is they don't call it the quick kit here, but this is no glue, no tools, no paint. So this is kind of like the entry grade style, where they believe that you will not, where the instructions are all in color here, and they're basically like, hey, you do not need any tools to make this work, but I will use an X-Acto blade to apply stickers because that makes my life easier. Got B1, B2, A1, and A2. I could build right out of the box, but I will use my dividers here, although that piece just popped out, because there's always a piece that likes to pop out. Oh, and a B2 and B3. Ooh, there's a B3. Fancy. But yeah. Oh, Dirty wants me to hit the dance button. Sure, I'll hit the dance button. Here's the dance button. It just sounds, it's just trying to, like, whoever made this must really have just wanted this to be a song that plays for a very specific kind of TikTok dance. Because that's what it sounds like to me. I don't dislike it, but that's what it sounds like every time I hear that song. All right, we will have some stickers that we will be applying here. We are going to take a pause for the cause, though, folks. I'm going to talk about ways you can support the channel. And then we'll get into some manga and some anime talk. I am going to quickly, before I do that, we're going to update this. Yeah, it's a little fight scene-y music. Yeah, totally. We're going to do Plamo. I'm changing the title of the stream to Plamo Gyarados, because we are building the Gyarados. And then we'll continue it and finish it. And once we finish, when we finish the Gyarados, which will be, won't be today, it'll be Thursday. Then we will then work on that race car, which will be a quick Lego build. There, updated. Put that in there. Hey, if you're currently a subscriber to the Build with Baer workshop, you can throw the Bear Cave, the Lego, the Scythe emote into the chat here, or the Tier 2 blue emote if you are a Tier 2 subscriber. Subscribing is the easiest way to help me out, to support what I do here through Cash Money or your Prime Gaming token. We had Herald renew today, which is very nice. It looks like Ghost Valve renewed yesterday, which rules. Thank you for renewing yesterday. Ghost Valve. That's rad. I'm seeing that notification. I just scrolled down a little bit and saw that. Thank you very much. And thank you for everybody that does support me here through Cash Money or through Prime Gaming Token. If you have Amazon Prime, linked with your Twitch, you get Twitch. You get Twitch Prime. Also, you could gift a sub to somebody in the community. There are no gift subs this month. If you want to be at the top of the gift sub leaderboard, you just have to gift one sub and you'll be up there, and that would be cool. Or you could be bits and coins. You could always cheer and join the cheer leaderboard, which you join Harold, who was the first to give some cheer in the month of April, which we are in somehow. So thank you very much for that. Appreciate it. There are other ways to support me. We'll go through this pretty quickly because we can get back, because I got a bunch of things to talk to you about as far as anime and manga. We're going to start with anime and then we'll get to manga, because if we don't have time, then we'll move on. But I want to talk about these new shows. And to get there, I have to tell you that I have a Patreon at patreon.com/PatBaer. Why can't I find the... Where did it go? There it is. My Patreon... There's a $1, a $3, a $5, and a $10 tier. There are different rewards for the different tiers. Take a look at my Patreon. See if there's a tier that's right for you. It'd be cool. Let's see. Other things that you can do over on the old I got that. Then I got a YouTube channel, youtube.com/PatBaer. Obviously, subscribing at YouTube is free, so please do that. Watch my videos. That would help me out a lot. And if you want to become a member there, it's $2 a month, and you get my Wednesday videos a day early. So you could sign up right now, and then tomorrow you will get a video that other people won't get until Wednesday. And this new one is a funny idea, I think. I think it's pretty fun. And I used some green screen without a green screen, and it turned out okay. I'm trying that. I'm trying that out here and there. Let's see. I got that. Direct donations. Those are monthly ways to support me with money, but you could always just jump in on a direct donation. And everything I make through direct donations, through YouTube, through Patreon, and through Twitch all goes into a fund, and I take money in that fund to buy model kits. The Gyarados that I am starting next, this friend, I was able to purchase. This was on sale on Right Stuff, and I had some cash from y'all, so I was able to use that to pick up a kit. I got that and one other thing, and I was very, very happy to be able to do that. So thank you very much. Let's see. If you would say, Pat, don't build stuff from your backlog. When you're done with that Lego car, why don't you build something that I pick out? Well, if you're thinking that way, you can always peruse my Amazon wish list and buy something. It'll come to me in the mail, and it will be the next thing that I build. I've got Lego sets, and I got a few cheap options because it's nice to have some cheap options. I've got including some Lego cars. I've got high grades and master grades, stuff that's on sale, stuff that is like Amazon free shipping, stuff that is just free shipping, so it will take longer, but it also doesn't cost money to ship it. I have some stuff like I already built one Delanza. I have a different Delanza. Do I really need to build two different Delanzas? Well, it's kind of fun to put them next to each other, so maybe. But a bunch of different kits in there. Like I said, some that are from Witcher Mercury, which is coming back soon. Some that are just from other shows, other Gundam shows. A bunch of different things that I would be happy to work on. And then some gear at the bottom, because it's always nice to build a little bit of gear. Or to have a little bit of gear, I should say. So if there's anything there you think you'd love to see me work on stream, please do. Please pick that up. I'll do a dedicated YouTube video about the thing that you purchased. It jumps the queue. It becomes the next thing I work on. So after I'm done with the Lego car, I build something that you bought for me. Let's see. Alternatives to that is my Throne wish list, which is a lot of gift cards and a few kits that I don't have on that regular list. It's nice to have an alternative to Amazon. And then USA Gundam Store. You could just buy a gift card to USA Gundam Store. It's a digital gift card. They send you a code in your email. And then you could DM me on Twitter or whisper me here on Twitch. Either's fine with that gift card code, and I would use that. And then, let's see. Yeah. I think that's that. Oh, I have a Discord. You just jump on my Discord if you wanted to. Hop in the old Discord and hang out with your friend Pat there. It's a nice little place full of great people. Pat Baer's Anime Club. The most recent episode of Pat Baer's Anime Club is my wrap-up of the winter anime season and my preview of the spring anime season. So please take a look at that. If you didn't see it live or you just didn't watch all of it, check that video out. And then Baerly Rehearsed is an ongoing video series that I do. It is a weekly video series that I do, and I'm very happy to be able to do that. So this weekly series is me doing some characters, some prose, doing some jokes. And I promise that every single thing in there, every one of these, I have done some amount of rehearsal on. So it's Baerly Rehearsed. This one, there'll be a new one on Wednesday. This most recent one, number 13, is Clean Slate number 1. And the premise of Clean Slate is I'm just going through my list of premises and like character ideas that I've been sitting on since I started doing this. And I was just like, nope, clean slate. You're done. So episode 13 and 20, up to 52, 4 times a year I will do that. I will just be like, because I also think it would be funny for the very last one to be any idea that I was never going to do in that capacity for that show. So take a look at that video if you haven't already. Because also seeing ads on my YouTube videos helps me out financially. So that's also a way to support me. Because I make a little bit of money on ads. All right. We'll talk about some anime. We might talk about some manga tonight if there is time. If there is not time, I think there will be time. We'll talk about the one manga that I've been reading lately. You know, I've been reading a lot of manga, but I got one to talk about. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But first things first, I need to drink some water, and so we're going to dramatically transition to the overhead and then work on Gyarados right now. All right. It's Gyarados time. Let's get started on this kit while we also talk about anime. The last episode of Buddy Daddy. So, this is an original series, right? I had heard that this show was going to have B1.5 and B1.8. Okay. I heard this show was going to have 13 episodes. So I did not realize that this was going to be the second to last, or I thought this was going to be the second to last episode. It wasn't. It was the last episode. And it was violent. If you hadn't watched Buddy Daddies, it is the story of 2 roommates who are partners, assassins. They are not a couple, but they are buddies, and they take a job where they run into a young lady, and turns out their target is this young lady's dad. And so they, through circumstance, end up adopting this girl, and they have to figure out what it's like. And one of them lost his wife who was pregnant at the time, and so he never got to be a dad, and the other one has never even considered it. And it's them and this cute little girl Miri, just making a found family while the dads still try to, ooh, this is rubberized, nice. While the dads still try to get out there and do their jobs as assassins. And shit hits the fan because one of the guys has a dad who is like the head of an assassins group, an organization. And he wants his son who's one of our buddy daddies, to fucking like come take over the family, which gets rejected. And then we get some fucking fight scenes in this episode. This last episode saw like them, like they basically like gave up the idea of raising Miri and sent her to live with her mom, who we found out was dying of cancer. Well, her mom didn't die of cancer. So we can say, if we want to be morbid, her mom died from being assassinated by the same guy that probably killed Ray's fiance, definitely probably killed Ray's fiance and unborn child when he was looking to quit being an assassin way back when. So they have a fight with Ogino, who is the non-feeling psychopath that kind of has cleaned up their messes and then also definitely killed Miri's mom. We know that. And then there's a difficult fight, and it's probably the best fight of the show. Their fight there, it's pretty fucking cool and pretty long. It takes both of them to get the job done. Because they were going to the organization to be like, hey, we're out of this. We're done. We're going to clear this up. But they, of course, they have to have a big fight. Okay, so I need a 2, 2, 12. All right. Working on the face of our Gyarados here. The big face and neck and all that. So yeah, big fight. Ray says, like, I'm going to face my father alone, so go get a getaway vehicle for us. There's a shootout, and Ray ends up shooting his dad because his dad won't just have a conversation with him, and he's like, hey. And then Ray ends up intentionally, first of all, he calls Kazuki and Miri his real family, which is lovely. That's wonderful. It's like, no, I'm going to be with my real family. And then he cripples his arm so that he can never be an assassin again, which doesn't... I was like, no, I don't feel like that makes a lot of sense, but okay. And then Ray almost gets shot by his dad, who then eventually does accept that this is the reality of it and lets him go, which was, I would describe as surprising. And then they show up at the daycare Christmas party, because also it's been a bit here. There's a Christmas party, and they show up in Santa costumes to hide all of their bruises and injuries, and it's very cute. And then the epilogue of the show is 10 years later. That's right. We're going to travel 10 years into the future, where our guys did retire from being assassins, and they are, of course, cafe owners. They're small business owners. They have a cafe called the Diner Nest, which, if that's a pun, I don't get it. It might be just a translation. You have to be there. But we did know that Ray can make good French toast, and that is apparently the star of the restaurant. Now Miri is a teenager going to high school, and she lives happily with her 2 papas. Or you might call them her buddy daddies. And that is a lovely end of the series that I thought was going to get 13 episodes. Now, my big criticism of this one is there is not enough guys trying to figure out how to be a found family and how to be dads. There is maybe more than necessary assassination work, which I understand is their jobs, but and they're trying to make it all work. But also, I feel like Ray has a lot of backstory and a lot of stuff going on, but Kazuki doesn't have as much, in my opinion. And so I would have liked to have seen him get a little bit more to do in this. Hey, I wish this piece of plastic was just pink, but I understand why it isn't, but this sticker is kind of shitty. But whatever. Now we got our big pink part of the mouth here, and then I need A18 piece here. Oh, Regizzle says, I really thought Buddy Daddies was going to break bad. So I didn't necessarily think, I mean, obviously, like, look, Miri's mom was murdered. Like, yes, she was dying of cancer, and Miri's dad was murdered but he didn't know her or care about her, and didn't care about the mother. So there was some death. Like, Miri's birth parents are both dead, and one of them was killed by her dads and her new dads, and the other one was murdered by the guy they went on to murder. But murdered mostly because of their involvement. So it was dark in places. It wasn't as dark as it could have been, and I'm glad they didn't go that way, although they certainly could have gone that way. All right, so now I have one more sticker on. I have the mouth stickers. The rest of the stickers, all of the stickers on this kit are eyes and mouth stickers. So that's fun to say out loud. But we're almost done with all the stickers we need for this kit. So overall, Buddy Daddies we have Spy Family at home. It's very much that. I've said that several times. It's true, though, but that's not a bad thing because Spy Family rules, and this does have some Spy Family vibes of the found family while also being murderers, in different ways and shapes. But I would recommend it if you missed it. It is also, I should say, I like being able to promote, in my own way, original anime. I do like anime that is not based on a video game or a light novel or a web novel or a manga. It is cool to be like, hey, this is just a thing that exists. They just like the studio. It's one of those things where like people in the studio have kids and now they are inspired somehow by that to work on this project. And that sounds great. And it's fun to be able to say, this is good, because it was. All right, almost done with all of the stickers left on this kit. I'll wait till the end and pan line the whole thing. We'll get the whole thing together, and then we'll throw some ink on it. Now, let's get into the new shows. I watched 2 new shows. So, to be fair, I should say, I watched 4 new shows, but I am not going to be talking about the weekly episodes of Kuma 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 Bear Punch, which is season 2 of Kuma 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 Bear, although you should watch it because that show is delightful. And I am not going to be talking about In Another World with My Smartphone season 2. That's right, they made a fucking another season of that. It started now. Because I don't want to talk about the second season of a show when I could talk about a brand new show like The Aristocrats' Otherworldly Adventures, serving gods who go too far. This is the most. There is no twist. There is no new idea. There is no like hot take. We're gonna get that with some isekai this season of like, hey, what about an isekai where, well, you also could go back to the real world now and again, right? None of that. Not going to be transformed into a different animal or creature. You're not the vending machine or anything. Which is a manga that exists. This is just telling the story of, hey, what if you died protecting some people, and you went to a different world, and for some reason, all the gods of that world noticed your good deed and rewarded you. And you're incredibly powerful, and you have a cool family that likes you. And eventually you meet a lot of different ladies who all think you're great. And that is what happens in the Aristocrat Otherworldly Adventure, serving gods who go too far. This is just about Cain. And at age 3, he gets reincarnated. Oh, he died, in that world, and then takes over the body of Cain at age 3, or becomes aware at age 3. We're not really fully clear. That, hey, oh yeah, I have all my memories, and here's my family and all this, and I'm learning magic at a young age, which he shouldn't be learning magic at that age, it seems like, but he is, and he's incredibly smart, and everyone's really shocked. And then he finds out that he has been during his baptism, where everyone goes to baptism and learns, like, hey, have any of these people have you been blessed by any of the 7 gods of this world? And turns out all 7 of them gave him a blessing because they liked him. They liked his selfless deed and chose to reincarnate him here. And there might be a reason for it that he doesn't know. But yeah, they're just like, yeah, we gave you a bunch of blessings. We think you're a good dude. And he's like, oh, wow, I think I might be the most skilled human on this planet. That's weird. And everyone's like psyched about it, but also like, well, kingdoms might be, and governments might be really scared about how cool you are and how tough you are. And so we should like hide your abilities for a while, which makes sense, right? And then he's like, okay, what we'll do is someday I'm going to become an adventurer, so I can travel around and help people and like use these skills that the gods gave me for good, which is, and also it'll be adventuring. He'll like that. And then the gods, we see all the gods, and they're like, well, we gave him a lot of abilities, but hopefully he'll use them well, because he needs to become the strongest creature on that world at age 16 to prevent a great evil. And I'll tell you this, folks, we haven't gotten to that great evil part in the manga. It might be totally reasonable to say, like, oh, well, the anime, because it's based on a light novel, is going to get to that part. But, like, very little is said again about this. That's kind of just like, it's one of those things where I'm like, I wonder if the mangaka remembers that part of their own story, because the story really is about, because this is from the manga, an overpowered dude that just constantly ends up with new fiancés, to the point where they joke about, they're like, he's like, what? I'm just meeting her. They're like, yeah, right. You're going to end up being engaged. Because he's engaged to a lot of ladies. And yeah, he's just an overpowered dude that's like helping people out and being a good dude. This anime, I don't think I can recommend it, but like if you like Isekai, like I like Isekai, you should watch it. I would say it's totally watchable, and I think like pretty damn enjoyable. It is an easy watch. It is a simple watch. And the art looks fine. I am sure that there will be some cost-cutting CGI monsters in this thing, right? I am sure that they will do that. There's a little CGI here and there, but hopefully they won't rely too much on it. But the Isekai we're getting this season is mostly action shows that are like very predictable. Like even Kuma 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 Baer is an action Isekai. It's just a cute, one with a female lead, which is nice. But it's still a cute series. You know what? Why don't we panel line this while I'm talking? Because I finished this up. And I'm going to talk to you about My Clueless First Friend. This is not a romantic comedy. It is just a school-based, like, slice of life comedy about a really sad young, like, legitimately incredibly sad young lady who makes her first friend and how her life changes from that effect. So we meet our main dude, who is Taiyo Takada. Taiyo is an elementary school student. A grade school, I should say. Grade school. He is entering grade school, and he is going to a new school. And he hears some people talking about, like, barrier, and it was translated as Grim Reaper, but it said the Shinigami. So, like, God of Death. Like, oh god, oh wow, there's a Shinigami, and like he's just like, what? Cool. What? The god of death is here. That's awesome. Like he's psyched about that because he's a weird little kid. Um, and that's where we meet Akane. Akane is our main character. Akane is heavily picked on and bullied. We later learn that she's been lying to her dad and says that she has friends at school. She does not have friends at school. She has people that pick on her. And there's a little bit of a tone here. Like, obviously, it is like how one nice thing can change your life is kind of our vibe. But there's also the tone of like, there's a little moment there where the other characters almost have the realization that like it doesn't make any sense and doesn't mean anything that they bully this girl. She later says that one of the reasons why they bully her is because she has dead eyes, and the people don't like the way her eyes look. But really, it's just a sad little girl that they can pick on. In between classes, Akane helps water the school plants, and Takada is just like, hey, what's your deal? Why do they call you that? What's going on? And he's like, hey, do you want to walk home together? Because he has just decided that she's interesting. Like, they say barrier, and they're like, and he's just like, what? People can use barrier? These kids can use that on something silly like you? Like, on this? That's awesome. I want to learn barrier. Like, he just thinks she's interesting and wants to know more of, like, what's going on with her. Which is all our friend can ask for. And then there are some dudes, and we don't know who they are yet, but there are some dudes in her class that pick on her, and these boys have decided they're in a gang called the Scorpion Gang, and they invite Takada to join them. And she's just like, oh, cool, yeah. He's like, yeah, let's join. They're like, no, not her, you. And he's like, oh, well, never mind then. I'm going to keep hanging out with this girl. She's more interesting than that. So basically, like, they hang out because Akane thinks that, like, Takada thinks that Akane is a Shinigami because everyone's been calling her that. And he just thinks that's fucking dope. He's just like, that's cool as hell. Like, that sounds rad. I want to know more about you and hang out. So he's just like, he's on board. He is committed that, like, this is my new friend and we're going to hang out. And it's fun because it's just like, we get a narration, like a kind of explanation of Akane and, like, what her deal is and all that. And, like, there's a whole thing where Akane just definitely, like, gets a little bummed because Takada makes friends with Hano, who is like a sportsy dude. And so I think she's just like, oh, well, this might be it. And there's another girl that's kind of watching the two of them. And I'm sure that girl will be important soon. But during dodgeball, Takada tries to protect Akane and then gets hit with a really heavy shot that was meant for her, and goes to the nurse. And then I guess Hana went to go visit him, and then Akane just felt awkward about doing it, but he was like, "No, you should come in and hang out. We're friends." And he's just like, you don't have to worry about. I don't care about rumors. Why would I care about that? Whatever. We should hang out. He's like, do you care about rumors? He's like, no. And then they hang out and they watch. They drink a little water and watch the sun go down there from the nurse's office, and it's just a lovely little scene. And this is a fucking, like, obviously. It does address bullying. I'm sure this isn't just immediately going to go away. There are, like, some signs that this might be a series where some character growth happens for some people as they start to recognize that, hey, this is just bullshit. Why are we doing this? That probably will not happen immediately. But does feel like a heartwarming little show. And if you're looking for something fun and, you know, maybe having some heartfelt moments, but also just like the story of a fucking dumb doof who is going to make a girl's life a lot better via friendship, I would say fucking watch this anime. It is once again, that is my Clueless First Friend. Both my Clueless First Friend and Aristocrat's Otherworldly Adventure are on Crunchyroll. I do have some shows on High Dive that I will be talking about. Are those? I don't remember exactly when. Let me look. Hold on. Let's see. Do I have? I thought I had. Do I have? Ooh, let me look. Yes, Otaku Elf and Too Cute Crisis are shows. I believe those are weekend shows. Both my yes, yeah, that's a Friday, Saturday. I will be talking about Otaku Elf and Too Cute Crisis. I don't know if I'm going to keep watching Otaku Elf, but I'll definitely start that. And Too Cute Crisis sounds fun, and hopefully there'll be a couple. This is just right now what it looks like, but hopefully there'll be more because you know, if I'm paying $5 a month for High Dive, like, yeah, 2 shows, that's kind of okay, but I wouldn't mind if I was getting a little bit more for my money. You know what I mean. All right, let's talk about a manga that I have been reading. It's called Heartwarming Isekai Reincarnation Days. Level max, item carryover, I'm the strongest little girl. That's the whole fucking title. It is easier to read in Japanese, I am sure, but that is indeed the whole fucking title. So, Heartwarming Isekai Reincarnation Days is the story of a girl who apparently fucking just died from in the real world. She died on Christmas Day. She was a gamer, and she happened to enter a area that no one had ever been in this VR MMO. She just ended up in this area that no one had ever seen before, and got some kind of overpowered item that no one's she'd never seen before either, and there was no indication with that. And then that night, which is Christmas, she died, and then she was reborn as a young girl, as her player character, a variation of her player character. But now the video game world is real. But she has her inventory, and she has all her powers, and she can do all kinds of cool stuff. Even as a baby, like, her dad gets hurt, and so she can, like, get potions out of, she, like, gets potions, but she can't, like, pour the potion into his mouth. So while he's there just, like, recuperating, she just, like, splashes him with as much potion as she can. And she can't, like, you know, talk to anybody. But as she gets older, she realizes, like, oh shit, something's up with my mom, and, like, there are people after my mom. Oh no, what am I gonna do? Like, well, I have all these powers, like, you know, and I have all these abilities. So she's just like, I'm gonna protect. Even though she's a little kid, she's just like, she, like, finds some tools in the backyard, and, like, she's like, hey, I found this, like, so they can sell them and make some money. She's like finding ways to support her folks. We find out later that one of the things going on with her is that her mom is an elf, and her powers are sealed. So she's half elf, but those part of her powers are sealed, which she's just like, oh, that wasn't in the video game. So there's some stuff in this that isn't part of the video game. But yeah, we get to see some action. It is pretty fun. Like, they're just gonna go on an adventure and try to, like, figure out some stuff. There is some drama. Like, the people that were after her mom were trying to kidnap her mom because this dude had been kidnapping other people and selling them. So part of this adventure that's starting up is her trying to track down, like, these kidnapped folks and trying to figure out where they ended up and try to save more of them while beating up the bad guys. She's got an elf that follows her around that thinks she's, like, super cute, and it's not creepy yet, but the joke is how weird this other elf is. Like, it's one of those things where you're like, that at some points this will be inappropriate, but it's not meant to be gross. It's just meant to be like, ha ha ha, look at this girl getting a nosebleed because this other girl is cute. It's like, come on. What if you didn't do that? But for the most part, it is a very enjoyable series, and I'm having a good time with it. I don't know if there's anything else. So yeah, we're going to big adventures happening because she kind of saved the day. So now it's time to go out on her own and tour the world and figure out some stuff. Will she ever find out why she was isekai'd? I don't know. I don't feel like that's probably going to come up. It might someday come up as an explanation, but it feels like my guess is this world is somehow connected to the video game, and like it's that kind of like thing where if someone found that item, like they would get reincarnated. Like maybe that like exists in her world as a way to like bring somebody in. It could be, or it could just be like, I don't know. That's how we got at this premise. There's like probably some other stuff that like we could figure out, but we're not going to. Oh, it is what it is. Like there could be an explanation, but it could just be the explanation of, I don't know. It's a fantasy world. What do you want? And so that is the manga that I'm reading. Heartwarming Isekai Reincarnation Days. Level max, item carryover. I'm the strongest little girl. And yeah, it's pretty fun. Now is the part of the stream where I want to hear from you. What are you watching? What are you playing? Yeah, any video games? You can go to the movies. You watching anything? Did you watch any indie wrestling this week? Did you watch WrestleMania? We probably won't get too much more into wrestling. I have let my Fight Plus expire because I popped the 7-day free trial to Fight Plus. So now all I have access to is Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling, which I had to pay for, their LA show. I do have access to that, which reminds me I do need to see right now. But I want to hear from you folks. Yeah, if you watch anything, you play anything, let me know in the chat. I just want to see when is the next Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling show that I can watch. Okay, there is one on the 7th, okay, which starts at 11 p.m., so really doesn't start until midnight. So that is this Friday. Okay, so there's Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling show this Friday. And I will be watching that because that rules. Just they're short shows. But yeah, I let that lapse because I'm not gonna. There's a bunch of stuff on Fight, but like not enough really to justify it. Like every a monthly fee. I just don't. I think what I'll probably end up doing is if there's a thing that I'm really interested in that's on Fight. That is available on Fight Plus. I might do like a month here and there just to be able to watch it, because that way I'm like, well, that way it's like whatever it's cost, it's included in the Fight Plus, and then I can also watch some other stuff. I think that's what I'm gonna do. That's kind of my vibe there. It's just like, every once in a while I'll pop a, pay a little bit of money and get that. I think I'll just do that instead of like paying for it and then finding a good reason to have it, right? Because that's sometimes with subscription services, you're like, okay, well, how do I justify having this service? It's like, I don't want to do that. I want to have it and then use it. Like Wrestle Universe, I watched a bunch of DDT match shows, and I watched basically every Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling show that comes out. It's like how I want to do it. Let's see. Aristocrat says, I die a lot in Resident Evil 4, so I rolled up a new character in Elden Scrolls Online. Okay, nice. Which I haven't played in years. So far, very easy and chill. Nice, Aristocrat. I can get that sometimes, where you're just like, you know what? Instead of just dying over and over in this video game, what if I just didn't play it for a while and come back to it? And maybe you're going to come back and you're not going to die as much because you're going to be like, you know what? I should have been doing this whole time. Or I should be using the knife way more because even though it's got durability, that knife could do some damage. So I guess I should be using the knife or trying to snipe or whatever. And you'll just find like another way to play that game, perhaps. Or you just won't go back to it. And you're like, well, I got my fun and now I'm done. Which I did not mean to rhyme, but did. Anybody else got anything they're watching or playing or doing? Also, if you just want to be a lurker and you don't feel like saying anything, that's okay. Have you watched any new anime? I mean, we've only had like 3 days of the new season because I think Saturday was the first day that anything new came out. Maybe Friday. Maybe it's been 4 days, but we're still new into it. But if you've been watching anything, if you know something I've been talking about or something that I missed, because there's always anime like Hell's Paradise, the thing that I know some people are watching this weekend, but that did not appeal to me, so I did not end up watching Hell's Paradise because I don't really want a Death Island, like, I don't go for the death game kind of vibe. Although this is more like everyone there is on death row trying to get an item, and I'm sure there will be characters that we think are cool that get introduced just so that they can be killed, and then you feel bad. And I'm like, I'm not really there for that. Lastbrook says, sorry. Lastbrook says, I did some more work to set up my light gun and beat both Area 51 and Duck Hunt. Well, that sounds like your light gun is working if you're beating Duck Hunt and Area 51. That's awesome. I'm glad you're getting some use out of it, getting some enjoyment out of the light gun. I hope you get much more enjoyment, and it fucking rules, because that's awesome, Lashbrook. All right, we're not going to finish this tonight, but we're getting a lot done on this thing, so that's good. We're just going to do some panel lining, I think, here for the rest of the stream. Just get that looking good. And then this clicks in like that. You got to hear the click. And then that's going to go in like that, right? Yeah. Yeah, there's not a lot left of this, but we're not going to finish it tonight. We will build it on Thursday. I should say, while I am going, Dirty says, I went back to work today after a week off and found 130 plus new emails waiting for me. Other than that, I got word my desk is coming, or a deck is coming on Wednesday. Oh, your Steam Deck. Nice. Originally I thought it said deck, like your desk, but your Steam Deck. Awesome. 130 plus new emails is a lot of new emails. Yikes. Last person says the light gun works flawlessly. It's making RetroArch and whatnot work that sucks. Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure it's not the hardware, it's the software. That makes a lot of sense, like configuring and all that. I do want to remind you, friends, that I do bonus streams. Speaking of Pokemon, I will be doing a Tuesday stream. Tuesdays are my bonus, where I just do something that is not model kit related. And that's tomorrow night. I'm playing more Pokemon Platinum Randomizer. It's been, I believe, 2 months, and I don't remember where we left off. So I will be trying to remind myself where the fuck I was in that game. And I'll do that tomorrow afternoon. I'll load that up and try to figure that out and get everything configured and looking good so that the overhead works out, and you'll be able to enjoy that. But yeah, that's Pokemon Platinum Randomizer. That's my stream tomorrow. Come check that out, because it's been a while since I did that video game. Let's see. Lord Crashton says, jumped back into Fallout 3 on a PC a bit, though it does a weird thing when scrolling lists with the middle mouse button where VLC audio goes up and down. That is weird. That is weird. The other Fallout games do the same thing. I have not run into that. Of course, I don't have... I have not run into that problem. That is weird. I guess I don't have VLC open all the time to run into that problem. Regizzle says, watched a couple episodes of Uncle from Another World. Those are out now. Oh, did they finish Uncle from Another World, or they restarted it finally? I'm gonna look that up on this here Netflix thing here. We're gonna wrap this kit up. I will continue working on this on Thursday. But let's see. Flex. Okay, Uncle from Another World did finish up. Yeah, that show got delayed. I mean, it started, and then like they ran into a lot of issues. Okay, I don't have Netflix right now, but at some point I will probably go back and watch that. Because yeah, all the episodes are up. That's good. Yeah, I think it got up to like episode like 8 or something, or 7, or 6 even maybe, and was just like, yeah, we're done for now. Which is always tough. But it's good to hear that is all out, because I really like that manga. And I like that the anime was trying to really approximate that manga. That's a nice touch. All right, so I'll take a photo of this in a minute here, but our Gyarados friend, we'll get a photo of Gyarados. But right now, what's going to happen is we're going to go raid. That is how we end every stream around here. We always end with a raid. We're going to go find somebody doing some cool stuff out there on the internet and go give them some love. So hang out here. A reminder that my bonus stream tomorrow is at 9 p.m. Eastern, Pokemon Platinum Randomizer. I will figure out where I left off in Pokemon Platinum Randomizer so that we can hang out there. I just don't know right now. As just says, we always end with a raid. And so I want to see who is streaming right now. Hey, Rara's doing a stream. I don't know what Rara's doing tonight, Vectroid. But we're going to go hang out with Rara. Rara is using her old VTuber model, and she has a big cowboy hat on. Oh, it appears that we are... it appears we are at least somewhat looking at professional bull riding. I don't know exactly what we're doing there, but Rara has a cowboy hat, and I want to see what the fuck is going on here. So we're going to go raid Rara because Vectroid rules. So let's just get in for whatever the fuck is going to happen here. Thank you, everybody, for joining me tonight. Again, tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern. We're going to get into Pokemon Platinum Randomizer. It's been a little while since we did that. Pick up where we left off. It's not a Nuzlocke. And then Thursday, finish Gyarados, build a Lego car, and then build something else after that, I'm sure. Thank you all so much for being here. I hope you have a great night. Enjoy this raid and enjoy yourselves and the rest of your Monday. And I'll see you soon. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye, 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 goodbye.